Good morning, everyone. So today, here I am with my class number 15 in English, and today, as we have completed discussing the short story by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir, that is Oru Manushyan, and today let us discuss the question and answers relating to this chapter or this short story. On the past three classes of mine, we have been discussing this short story on Oru Manushyan, Malayalam short story supposed to be, which has been translated to English. And yesterday we have discussed, or we have completed, or we have concluded discussing this short story. So when you go to the last page of the story, that is on page number 35, you have been very clearly told that it has been translated from Malayalam by V. Abdullah, titled A Man. Oru Manushyan, A Man. So this is exactly the title which has been translated to English by Abdullah, and he is the man who has actually translated this story from Malayalam to English. And in the course of the lesson, or in the course of the short story discussion, we have been looking at the various two different types of the narration which you need to keep in your mind, and you also need to understand why is this author is trying to tell us about one of his life experiences. He is sharing with us about one of his life experiences that he has undergone when he was young, or when he was in his adulthood or something. Okay, and whatever the things that have come in the chapter or come in the story, you need to make a note of it, or you need to at least give importance to each and every word or line, because questions may come from any part of the text or so. All right, so as we have discussed, as we have completed our discussion, so today I'll just discuss the question and answers, and after that let's see what best we can do in order to understand. So as I've already told you, I have been telling you in each and every class that the question paper pattern, whatever the question paper pattern is given, in the similar way the comprehension of a specific poem or a story or a short story will be given to you in the text. Getting? So when you look into the first comprehension, the comprehension first is comprising of one word or a phrase or a sentence answers. Okay, so I will discuss it today here now, and then probably if you want to make a note of it, you can go ahead with it, or else you will be writing it once you are back to the college, or let us see how best we can do so that we can provide you the notes or so. Okay, so what I feel is that you have understood whatever the discussion that has happened with respect to the story Oru Manushyan. Okay, so look into this. Before that, let me just read the glossary of the lesson that we have already done, or the short story. Oru Manushyan, a human being. So glossary, just read it because it will give you some or the other kind of a hint in order to understand the story. Predicament, unpleasant, dangerous situation. Predicament is nothing but something that you think on the future, like this is my prediction. Predicament. So this is what I predict. That is thinking about future or saying something about the future. Then to befall. Befall is nothing but something that happens. Verb it is. Okay, dingy. So he was living. That is, the author was living in a very dingy. That is very dull, dirty looking room or something, which has been told in the lesson. Then migrant. Who is a migrant laborer, isn't it? A migrant is a worker, one who moves from one place to another to do seasonal work or any kind of a work. They keep on moving from one place to another. That's the reason that they are called as the migrant laborers. Then course, minor work at home, like household chores. Heard of this word? Household chores are nothing but the minor work that is related to a home or a house. Wallet, I have told you in the discussion, it's nothing but the purse. Gouge out, to cut or force something out roughly or brutally. As I said, gouge out, this was a word used by the restaurant owner, isn't it? So he told him that if he doesn't pay him the money, he will gouge his eyes out. Means to take out, beat or cut or force or whatsoever that has been given. Then guffaw. Guffaw is nothing but making a loud noise in the form of laughing, like started. Stark naked. Stark naked, completely naked. Now this is once again a word that comes when the conversation was happening between the restaurant owner and the author himself. And then to save the day. That is to prevent failure or defeat. It is actually an idiom in English. Okay, to save the day is to prevent a failure or to prevent some kind of a defeating aspect of anyone's life. So that is called as to save the day. To save the day, which is used in English as an idiom. Okay, now this is something about the glossary that has been given at the end of this short story, and now let us come on to the first main, and the first main is nothing but comprehension 1, and comprehension 1 always asks you or demands you to write the answer in one word or a phrase or in a sentence each. That is what you are going to do. So I'll just read the answers here and then I'll discuss the answers, the question and answers related to it. Either you can write it in your textbook or you can make a notes of your own or so, and we will discuss and we will wind it off the question and answer part of Oru Manushyan today. Getting know all of you? Okay, so page number 36 is where you find the comprehension 1. The very first question is, how far was the city, the big city rather, how far was the big city from the narrator's hometown? It is been clearly given in the chapter, like that it was page number 31. It was quite a big city in the valley of a mountain, some 1500 miles from his home. So you have to write the answer as the big city was 1500 miles. It is not kilometers here. It is told as 1500 miles. So this is what the distance he had from his home about this big city. Then where did the narrator stay in the big city? Where did he stay? So it has been very clearly given. He was staying in a very small, dingy room on a dingy street. Sorry, dirty street. Okay, so he was living in a small street which was very small. The room was very dingy. At the same time, it was a very dirty street or something. So that is what you will have to write. You will find the answer there in the page number 31 on the last paragraph. That is the last 2 lines that have been given there. Okay, so extract from there or write the answers in your own words. That is, the author was staying on a dirty street in a small, very dingy room or something. That's what, if you can write, that's more than enough. Then question number 3, that is, for money people would do anything, even dash. You have been asked to fill in the blank there. That is, for money people would do anything. So let me find it out in the text only. That is, they were cruel people. Murder, robbery, pickpocketing were daily occurrences. The people, that is, you can find the answer on page number 31, the last second paragraph. Money was highly valued by them. For them, money, they would do anything. They can even commit murder. So fill in that blank with commit murder. So this is what you will have to commit, or this is what you will have to fill, saying they are. That is, for money, people would do anything, even commit, commit, commit murder. You have to fill that blank with this word. Then, what was narrators doing to earn a living? So what was he doing? What was author's job in that big city? He was supposed to teach English to the migrant laborers. That is what you have to write. So to teach English, if this much phrase is there, make your own sentence and complete the answer. Then dash was considered great education there. You have been given options here. First option is learning English, learning to write an address in English, writing addresses at the post office. So obviously option B is the answer for that, isn't it? Learning to write an address in English. So that is what the correct answer is. Then, what reason did the narrator give for sleeping all day and having food in the evening? We know that he used to sleep for longer hours in the morning, isn't it? He used to wake up somewhere around 4 o'clock in the evening only to skip meal and to skip drinking tea. That is the reason he says there, isn't it? He just wanted to save the money there, isn't it? And that's the reason that he used to give, or the reason that the narrator gives is to skip meal and the drinking tea. That is what you need to answer that. So make your sentences on your own and then write the answer. Okay. So mark it down or write it down in the text only, or you can just make a note of it. So, how much money did the narrator have in his pocket as his life's saving? How much money did he have in his in his wallet as a life's saving? So, he was having how many? What was the some amount that was told? 14 rupees. The answer is somewhere. Where is that? The English and came. I had 14 rupees in it. Page number 32, third paragraph. I had 14 rupees. So, this 14 rupees is considered to be the life's savings of the narrator or of the author. The man who came forward to pay the narrator's bill was he a man with a red turban, a person dressed in a suit, or a money lender? So, you will write a man with a red turban. Later on we come to know that that he was a thief or whatsoever, but right now what you need to mark is that a man with a red turban. So, these are the 8 questions that have been given on comprehension 1. But I would like to tell you here that only you cannot expect only these 8 questions appearing on your question paper to mark or to answer one word or a sentence or a phrase. You may get the question from anywhere from the text. That's why I say keep textbook as a reference book. You have to one or the other, whatever the notes that you are referring, but still you see to it that you give a very deep or very clear reading about the text, because question may come from any part of the text. Clear? Okay. So, 8 questions have been done here, and now let us come on to the comprehension 2 from the same chapter. Alright. Now, describe the people and the place where the incident took place. So, the second main question where you are supposed to answer in 80 to 100 words, isn't it? So, your word limit is 80 to 100. Either you can write one paragraph, okay, and you will have to answer this question. Okay, so the first question that has been given here is that describe the people and the place where the incident took place. So, definitely for this answer you are just going to take all the details about that big city that he talks to us about, okay, and then you will also have to write down where was it located. That is, it was a big quiet city in a valley of a mountain, okay. That paragraph, refer that paragraph and take only the important elements of the question what is been asked, and then you can answer those questions, okay. Clear? Okay. Then what was the routine of the narrator in the city? So, like he used to start working early 9:30 in the morning till 11 o'clock or so. And what was his job, what was he supposed to do, and meanwhile what he found, like these laborers were used to pay some amount of money just to write the addresses on the envelopes before posting them in the post office or something, okay. You can take those details also and you can write the daily routine, and then you can also write the author used to sleep for longer hours only to save the money in terms of skipping his meal or drinking tea or something. These 3 things you can make it into one paragraph and then you can write it, okay. So, I will give you that notes, but I am just telling you so that you can have the answer in your mind ready with you, alright. Okay. Then give an account of the embarrassing experience of the narrator at the restaurant. Embarrassing means you will have to start from the place from where the narrator, the restaurant owner starts embarrassing him in the form of asking him to remove the clothes one by one. Only that part you will have to write. Don't narrate the whole incident from the beginning. Okay, so you will have to just start your answer from the place from where the restaurant owner asks him to start taking off his clothes one by one. So, that was an embarrassing situation for him. Why? Because even the other people in the restaurant also started laughing at, or they were ready to see this kind of a fun that was happening in front of them. So, that becomes the embarrassing. Embarrassing is something which makes you feel uncomfortable. Okay, so that's what you will have to take your answer, only from the place from where he starts asking him to remove the clothes one by one, including shoes and all those stuff. That will be your answer for this question. Then, a stranger saved the day for the narrator. How? A stranger saved the day for the narrator. For this answer, you will begin with, he was about to remove even his trousers because he did not have any other choice. Meanwhile, he was almost hesitatingly, he was about to unbutton the trousers or something to remove. Meanwhile, there comes a voice, isn't it? So from there you can start your answer, and then you can just write down about, like, what does he say. The first thing that he does is that he will pay off his 11 annas, the bill that came to the restaurant owner. Then he asks him to come along with him. Both of them will walk, and while walking, what exactly they talk, that thing that you will have to describe in this answer. Okay, about that stranger. It has been named as a stranger here because we do not know who this person was, nor the author tells us. The author tries to even find out what was his name, but he says that he did not have any name or something, for which author himself starts, or he calls him as Mercy must be your name or something. That incident you will have to include in your answer for this question. So that completes your question number total question numbers are 4, and all these 4 should be written in a paragraph each, or maybe whatsoever, but your word limit should be 80 to 100, and you will answer to the point rather than writing the whole story. That thing you keep in your mind. Okay, so quickly look into those questions. Describe the people and the place where the incident took place. You are going to talk about the place, that is the big city, and what kind of the people were living in. Only that much as an answer. Second question, what was the routine of the narrator in the city? Like, why had he come so far? What was his job? Okay, what was he supposed to do? And meanwhile, what exactly was he also doing in order to earn some more money, like writing the addresses? Only that part should be your answer. Then on third one, give an account of an embarrassing experience of the narrator at the restaurant. Please don't write from the beginning. He goes and eats whatsoever he wants or something. Please don't. You have to start your answer only from the place where he says that I will not allow you to go out of the restaurant until you pay you off the money, for which the author himself says that you keep my coat here, I'll go home and fetch some money, for which he will not agree, and then he starts asking him to strip his clothes, or he asks him to remove his clothes one by one. From there you will have to start this answer and then complete it. Then the fourth question was asked on the stranger. A stranger saved the day for the narrator. The stranger saved the day for the narrator. So you got to explain how. So you will start from the narrator was about to remove his trouser. Meanwhile, he heard a voice. From there you can start your answer and complete it until both of them say, what do they say at the end? May God help you, may God help you. From there probably you can just make it into a paragraph, and then you can answer the question. Clear, no? So first main is done and the second main is done, and now let us come on to the third main. And as I say, third main is nothing but long answer questions, and the word limit for these type of the questions on comprehension 3 is always 200 words. So definitely you are going to make use of all the details, relevant details to the question asked, and then you will have to write it. Okay, so you should be definitely very careful about your spellings of the words that you write. At the same time, you also should be knowing about or writing about the exact clear-cut sentences with respect to the grammar, proper logical grammar, and make the sentences. All right. Okay. You have been given 2 questions here, and you will have to answer these questions. So let us look into what these 2 questions are, what can be extracted from the story to answer these questions. Question number 1, it is, does this story talk about transformation in a person? Discuss. Does this story talk to you about the transformation? Transformation, complete change. Okay, a complete change in a person. How? Or discuss. So what is that you are going to think here? Do you really think that this story is about a transformation, changing all the way from the beginning till the end or something? Okay, so definitely you are going to talk here about the narrator's experience only from the beginning what happened and what did he learn at the end of the story. So you can definitely include all the details about what the chapter is all about, or what exactly the incident is all about, beginning from the description of the city where he was living, what kind of a job that he was doing, and one day, or you can just start in that way, like he woke up late or something, like 4 o'clock in the evening, and the reason is given there. All right, and then you will have to talk about the experience that he had in the restaurant, and he meets a stranger, isn't it? He meets a stranger who was none but, we don't know, like it is left to our imagination to take into the consideration. So how does the man is just taken into the transformation? So there are two ways in which you can think of, one on the narrator's way, the other one is on the pickpocketer, or you can also talk about the red turban guy who wears and comes and helps him when nobody others help him or something. So there are so many kinds of the transformations that happen in the story, which you will have to definitely look into, and then you will have to answer those questions, answer this particular question. All right, am I clear with that? So you can take the transformation from the narrator's point of view, or you can take the transformation from the what's that guy, the restaurant owner also is being transformed, or maybe not. On the other hand, there is a man, one who is wearing a red turban, who actually comes and rescues, isn't it? A person, one who actually comes and rescues the author when he was in a fix, or when he was in a difficult time or so. Then, do you think the restaurant keeper was overreacting when the narrator could not pay the bill? If so, what accounts for his behavior? So here you have to just talk about, what do you think about the restaurant keeper? Do you think he was acting, or do you think that he was overreacting? Do you think that he was just extracting, or he just wanted only the money, nothing else? Isn't it? That's what he says. At the same time, when we were discussing, we also come to know a kind of a suspicion in the minds of the author, or suspicion in the minds of author that probably he might have kept his wallet somewhere underneath or something like that, isn't it? So you will have to answer this question with your own predicament of what do you think on the restaurant owner's behavior towards the author or something like that. Okay, so if yes, then what account? So account is nothing but he immediately asks him, he scares him off, like he will take his eyes out or something, that scare, like what can I say, making him fearful, like he will not allow him to go out of the restaurant or so, something like that. And at the same time, you can also think of the word like he immediately starts asking him to strip each and every cloth that he was wearing. Why? Because some or the other way he was having a kind of a suspicion in his mind that probably this man is lying. He must have hidden the wallet somewhere underneath or something. So you can just take these kinds of the considerations, and then you can answer this particular question on that particular aspect. Clear? Okay, so hope with this you all have understood, or you all have got at least an idea like what exactly the questions have been asked in the text, and how are you going to respond it in terms of writing your own answers or so. So we have done comprehension 1, there were 8 questions, and then we did comprehension 2, and where we had 4 questions, and then we have done comprehension 3 where we had 2 questions, and both these 2 questions are something which are in the form of review from the reader. So you can take the call in your own terms of answering this particular question, because it is not a kind of a descriptive answer that you are going to write here, but it is something that has been asked to give in the form of discussion, or maybe in the form of giving a what can I say, examples, or maybe supporting your answer if you think in that particular way or something. So this is all is about the 3 comprehension questions that have been asked in this chapter, Oru Manushyan. So the chapter, the title, the author, the story. So you got to definitely be very specific about it, and nevertheless, please don't ignore the text. Okay, so please do read. You may be asked about the questions in the test, in the exams, from the any part of the text or so. So that's why keep an eye specifically on the text. Text should be your ultimate book reference, apart from all other notes or any other books that you refer to or something, but see to it that you definitely have a quick reading about the chapter or something. Okay, so after watching this video about whatever the question and answers that I have discussed, okay, so give some time in reading the text and also have an idea in your mind, like what other questions can be asked, what other questions can be asked. That also you will have to just look into it, and then you will have to answer the questions with respect to the text only, and then you will have to complete it. Probably at least be ready with these answers in your mind or something. So once you're back to the college or something, let's see how best we can provide you the notes in terms of either dictating it or maybe providing you the hard copies or something like that. Okay, so with this I conclude this session on this chapter Oru Manushyan that we had, which is a very interesting story about the ordinary people and their lives, especially when you are a stranger. That thing should be kept in your mind, especially when you are a stranger. You definitely have to read this story in basic, putting that particular terms or so. Clear? So I just wind up this session here, and in my tomorrow's class, that is in my next class, I'm just going to discuss something relating to vocabulary. The same text I'm going to continue, because in the next page of this chapter, after the question and answers, you have some exercises related to the vocabulary. Okay, the vocabulary of a word or something, that I will be doing it in the next class. Alright, so thank you very much for watching this video, and just be specific about whatever the answers that we have discussed or whatever this video was discussed. So if you miss any answers or something, rewatch it once again, so that you will have an 100% understanding of the question and answers that were discussed. Alright, so thank you very much.